Finally, Arion Day has arrived. Sonia is happy, smiling, and already dressed beautifully. She is wearing a precious purple robe, a color only members of the imperial family are allowed to wear. Sonia heard that Gyun won't be attending the event due to the tasks Yewa assigned him, and she feels great knowing she won't have to see his face. Sitting down, she looked around and realized that just months ago, she had been kneeling in front of everyone like a criminal, all because of the person who gave her the purple robe, who was now sitting beside her. Yewa noticed Sonia looking at her and smiled brightly. Sonia was not impressed. She thought that Yewa was too intense. She then questioned whether all parents were like that. She recalled that her friend's parents from her previous life were not like that. She tried to remember her own mother, even though her memories of her were already blurry, but she believed her mother loved her too, just not as passionately as Yewa. After the ceremonial service to thank the first dragon that blessed the imperial family, the actual festivities began. The dances were beautiful, the food was delicious, and everyone looked happy. Sonia questioned whether all festivals were like this. She thought that if she had known, she would have enjoyed the party they held for her wedding before. She would enjoy what she couldn't that day today. While she was busy thinking and realizing things, multiple spoons were offered to her by Yewa's concubine, and she wondered what they were doing beside her instead of attending to their beloved Empress Regnant. She called Garam, asking him if he thought she wouldn't notice the vegetables he had hidden under the meat. Garam, feigning ignorance, answered that he wondered how the vegetables got there. Mirini offered another spoonful of meat, which Sonia accepted. Unable to take it that Sonia did not accept the spoonful of food, Garam called her attention, and told her he would show her something funny. Sonia was about to refuse when Garam suddenly burst into flames, which shocked her and the other servers at the festival. Garam asked her what she thought and if it was cool that he could do that. But then Sonia told him to turn it off, while still thanking him for the wonderful show. She also reminded Garam that it was dangerous to play with fire near the wooden palace. He told Sonia that it was not dangerous since the fire he showed her was something a person could touch. He pointed out the plant in the pot, which was not harmful at all. Sonia was amazed, realizing that Garam could make a huge fire, but still control its temperature. She knew that Garam was strong, but it didn't explain how he could use his power so freely under the barrier. She couldn't shrug it off as merely being because Garam had extraordinary powers. She knew there was something off about it. She remembered the time when she received the letter, and when Gyun visited her. It felt like he could also use his power as much as he liked. Still worried, she then recalled what Choan told her, that they inspected every guest and servant who entered the palace to ensure their powers were sealed. They even increased the surveillance around the palace so that accidents would not occur easily. She was worried that the barrier had become weaker than Choan thought, so weak that trespassers could easily break in and attack. A scream interrupted her thoughts, and a purple magic circle appeared in front of everyone, making Sonia realize even more how weak the barrier was. Garam and Mirini stood in front of her, protecting her. Magic circles weren't something from Siora. Different thoughts kept popping into Sonia's mind, but it was too late to think about such things now, because the invasion had already begun. People dressed in different clothes suddenly appeared through the magic circle, people from the west. Sonia looked at Yewa, then back at the intruders. Mirini and Garam were now standing in front of Yewa, as if guarding her. Sonia knew that something bad was going to happen. A man stepped forward, greeting Yewa with a bow. He introduced himself as Duke Flint from the Sylvanus Kingdom, along with the other delegates. Yewa simply looked at them, unimpressed. Duke Flint continued, informing them that their king had sent tributes to celebrate Arion Day, and that they hoped they would accept the presents they brought out of goodwill. Upon hearing the word goodwill, Yewa asked if their kingdom showed goodwill by breaking through the barrier created by the dragon's blessing. She asked how they were able to enter the palace, when she had never permitted any of them to come in. Confusion spread among the delegates. Yewa then asked if they were going to pretend they didn't know. She demanded an answer and threatened to break all of their bones down to dust. A blond boy stepped forward, kneeling, and informed Yewa that it was all a misunderstanding, admitting he was an ignorant fool who didn't know what the dragon's blessing was. He told Yewa that there was no barrier stopping them from teleporting to the palace. He added that if there had been one, no matter what tricks they might have tried, they wouldn't have been able to enter the sacred place. He then said that if they had angered her, she was free to tear them apart. Before Sonia could hear the rest, Garam covered her ears to shield her from hearing such words. She removed Garam's hands, telling him she was old enough already. The young blonde boy pleaded for mercy, and they all bowed down before Yewa, asking for her forgiveness. Yewa asked the boy for his name, and he introduced himself as Yui. She then asked for his age, to which Yui replied, 12. Yewa praised him, remarking that it seemed a child knew better than all the adults in their group. They were shocked, but to recover from the embarrassment, Duke Flint decided to present the tributes they had brought. Holding a golden key, a large golden orb appeared, followed by the gifts. Sonia was amazed, seeing the magic unfold before her. But what caught her attention was the sack. She wondered what was inside. The sack fell over, and a sweet potato rolled out. Duke Flint began explaining the tributes, but Yewa told them to take the gifts away. She added that she had no intention of accepting them. She even pointed out that delegations from other nations were only allowed to come on the third day. They had intruded on the festivity and made a mess of it, yet they still expected her to accept the gifts. Sonia was shocked by what Yewa said. Sonia didn't care about anything else. What she wanted was the sack of sweet potatoes, which might also contain regular potatoes. She needed to get her hands on it, even if it meant disobeying Yewa's orders. Worried that if she lost this chance, she might never get another, she stood up and dashed toward the sack. Her ladies-in-waiting were shocked by her sudden action. They called out to her, but Sonia was already examining the sack and realized she was right. It was full of sweet potatoes and regular potatoes. Sonia was carried away, but she didn't let go of the sack. What she was doing, in her mind, was for the greater good. She looked at Yewa and asked if she could keep the sack for herself.